All right, welcome to the Let It Fly show. I am Michael Severe, along with Josh Jones, Omaha Central 3-time state champion, and of course, Creighton Blue Jay as well. Welcome to the Sports Bar to the Stars.
And welcome back, bro.
Hey, welcome. Thank you.
Both of us, really.
Yeah, we've both been gone. The summer's tough.
I know.
I tell people all the time, if you're in a business world, there's a good chance when you call somebody during the summer, they're not there.
I know, man. It's all been good causes, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather's nice on top of good causes, so.
Although I will say it's a little hot today, Josh.
Today it is.
I just came from New Orleans, man.
For
It's
sure.
hotter today in Omaha than it is in New Orleans, Louisiana.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous. So this morning when I went outside, I left the house at 6 o'clock this morning to go walk the dog.
Right.
It was 76 degrees and 91% humidity. 90. We're taping on Thursday.
Which feels like 84.
It felt like 80 something. Yeah,
86,
it was.
84,
The great thing is I walk on Field Club Trail. I don't know if you've ever been over there before,
have.
but there's something about when you go down there and by those trees, it does cool off.
No doubt.
But walking there, I was like, "What is going?" I looked at my watch to make sure that I was in the right city, because it didn't feel like I was in the right city. I was like, "This is wrong." Brought to you, of course, by our presenting sponsor, Bud Light. We appreciate Bud Light. Whether you're hanging out here at the Let It Fly Sports Bar, whether you're watching some boxing, whether you're watching some basketball, you're watching some football, you're watching some Olympics, whatever is the thing to do. Easy drinking and easy buckets, easy to drink and easy to enjoy.
Right.
Bud Light, elevated sports bar experience. When's the last time you had a meal here? Did you have one last week when you were here? When you were interviewing Kyron?
Last week I didn't. You know
Didn't
why?
have one?
Because I was trying to change up my diet, bro.
Okay. What was the last meal you had here?
The last time we were together.
Oh, over here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What'd you have, remember? Did you have wings?
I had a little bit of everything. It was Baylor Shireman's.
Oh, yeah.
You feel me? His
draft
party.
night? Yeah, that was big.
So I had wings, nachos. I had everything, man.
Yeah.
It was too much. I had too much.
The last time I had something here, and this was just quick, we needed something, I had those quesadillas.
Oh, man.
And I'm not playing. They were really, I'm not a quesadilla guy.
Sure.
That's not something I normally.
I remember you said it.
I think it's a kid's food.
No doubt.
You know?
I respect that.
It's a kid's food, but it was good, and I killed it. I thought it was great. So whatever you get here at the Let It Fly Sports Bar has been researched. They tested it. Before they add something to the menu, they check it out. So, enjoy that, of course, always. Here's what's coming up at the Let It Fly Sports Bar. We got a big fight.
We do got
a big fight. August 3rd. That's Saturday. From Los Angeles, California.
It's going to be nice.
Bud Crawford trying to do it again. Trying to do it again. 4 different weight divisions.
Yeah, he want to be undisputed, period.
He wants to be the greatest fighter of all time.
I know.
And I know that's an aggressive thing to say.
No, it's not.
Because it's a long period. Guys been fighting since the 1880s.
Oh,
it's a long, it's a long time.
Okay.
You got some of the greatest of all time.
All right.
But he wants to be that.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about, like, objectively speaking.
He's the greatest fighter in the last 10 years. Last 10 years. Because I'm not going to put him in front of Mayweather.
Boom. He go.
Maybe I should, but I'm not.
If he go undisputed in 4 weight classes, who does he jump? And I'm unbiased, by the
way. I think it's Mayweather and Bud at this point. Mayweather, I believe, went 50-0.
And so we're going modern day fighters, right?
Right. And yeah, definitely Mayweather. I go last 25 years.
Do you go off a record or how they look when they
I would say this.
How do you
here's why they're very similar, and this has been the case. And I want to tell you, if you want to get a table, they're all selling out. We're going to open the mezzanine very soon.
Right.
Go to the website, letitflyomaha.com, and book your ticket or table now, because they're going to be gone. Tickets are on sale currently. If you just were getting a general admission ticket, like to sit at a bar, it's $25. If you want to get a table, it's a little bit more. You got to buy some food while you're here. I'm sure you're going to do that anyway. But definitely get them now. Go to letitflyomaha.com to see the championship. Israil Madrimov against Terence Bud Crawford. It is for the interim World Super Welterweight title fight. It'll be here August 3rd, 7:30. Everything will kick off. Fight won't be till like around 10:30, 11.
Right.
So this is why, and I think Tony Boone would tell you this because we always joke about it.
Okay.
The thing about Mayweather was every time Mayweather fought somebody, they would say all the reasons why that person had a chance to beat him. And then after he fought him, they were like, oh, that guy was a bum.
Yeah.
He wasn't any good. And I always would argue, Mayweather made him into a bum.
Yeah, Mayweather's just that good.
Same thing that Bud does. Every
that.
time Bud fight, like if you go online right now, people are talking about this guy saying, well, he's stronger. He's naturally bigger, right? He's a naturally a 154-pound guy.
Right.
They're saying that, you know what, he's got some good quickness. He's younger.
Right.
Bud came into the fight game in 2000.
What is his name again?
Madrimov.
Madrimov. Yeah, okay.
Israil Madrimov came in, and I went back and watched 4 of his fights today, and every single time they said his name different. I'm not lying. Every single time, British commentators. It was another guy who was kind of a Saudi accent. Yeah. There was an American. So,
but now my thing about that is, sorry to interject, but I think because people, I think sometimes when Bud fight people, it should be less now than it was in the past. But when he fight people, there's always a crowd reaction like, man, who is this dude? He ain't fighting nobody. Like da. But the thing is, I feel like Bud chose him because he want to go straight to a champion.
Yeah, he wants to. That's all he wants is belts now.
Period.
Belts.
Yeah.
Belts and pelts.
Legacy.
Belts and pelts.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, like, just on some drama stuff, like it seemed like boxing is ran. It seemed like boxing is ran by blogs and Facebook posts. That's how it feels to me.
Yep.
But
YouTube posts.
And YouTube. Yeah. Right. So I remember. You remember when Sebastian Fundora fought Tim Tszyu?
Yeah.
So I don't think Tim Tszyu would have won that fight, even though Fundora elbowed him with the big cut and all that.
Yeah.
Boom, he won all the belts. I know Spence. He's a perception guy. He's one of those dudes. I don't watch nobody else, quote unquote, or I ain't coming to no fight. So he get in the ring, he do his thing with Fundora, and Spence like make his presence known. Where look, I'm back in the race at 154, trying to fight for all the belts.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, Fundora had the WBO belt, and in the WBO sanction, I think the rules is you got to fight the mandatory no matter what.
Every time, but they pull it.
Right?
That's what happened to Bud at 147.
But my point is, Bud was a mandatory, and this dude dropped it. So was he ducking him? Or is it about money?
Or he was trying to get money more?
Or is it more? Is it really more money? Is it ducking Bud, or what do you think?
This is interesting about Bud, and I going back to what I said. Every time he fights somebody, they think that that person's got a chance to beat him, and then when he beats them, they're like, oh, he's not that good. So I have a lot of friends who are old school boxing fans who are around the country, right? Including my cousin who lives up in D.C. He was a boxer when he was a kid. He got shot, couldn't box anymore, but huge boxing fan, historian. And Vaughn and I were going back and forth on DM about 3 or 4 weeks ago about it. We were talking about Canelo and Bud, right? Could it happen? And he said the same thing to me. He goes, the one thing I noticed is leading up to that Spence fight.
Right.
Because I kept telling him, dude, trust me, they're as confident as I've ever seen in my life. We interviews Red Spikes. Red said it's over before it starts, right? I kept telling him that. And he was like, well, I don't know. Spence is bigger, whatever. So after it was over, he was like, well, I guess you were right. They knew, right?
Right.
And so, but I said, that's him every time. Yeah. Every single time they look and they say, I remember when he fought, this is back to Benavidez, I believe it was the one. Where they kept talking.
Big brother.
He was a spat.
Yeah, that was that was Jose Benavidez.
Jose Benavidez, right?
Big
so it was Benavidez, and then it was the junior guy after him. They had 3 names with a junior. So they were both those guys. They said they got as long a reach as Bud, and they're stronger. Bud doesn't have knockout power.
Right.
Stopped them. Right. Stopped everybody after that.
Yeah.
So it's just every time someone challenges him, he just comes equal to the challenge.
Maybe he's just
that's why he's special. That's just it. Yeah. He is, as I went back and somebody on one of these message boards, you were talking about that before, right? It's all done by message board. This guy on the message board was like, because I said to Tony Boone, I said, you know what? I think if you go back his last 10 fights, he may have only lost a handful of rounds.
Right.
And this guy goes, well, I think it's a lot more than that. Why don't you go count? So I said, fine.
Right.
Fine. I went back and count.
I know you.
I went back and count. It was his last 10 fights.
Yeah.
He lost 10 rounds. And this is how I judged it. So there's 3 cards, right?
Wow.
3 judge cards. If he was given he was given the round on 2 cards, I gave it to him. If the other person was given a round as a minimum of 2, didn't have to be sweep, 3. 2, right?
Right.
9 rounds. In the last 10 fights, he officially lost 9 rounds.
Right.
Think about that.
I know.
Because what do we talk about with Bud all the time? Slow starter, measures guys.
Right.
And he's not even losing those rounds anymore.
He's not. Right.
He's as dominant as a fighter as I've ever seen. I got to go back to Mayweather. Because when Mayweather was at his peak, he would go into a fight, he'd mess around with you for a little while, he'd make you look bad, and in the end, no one hit him.
At all.
And Bud rarely gets hit.
Right. Now, my thing about that, like thinking about how great Floyd is versus Bud, like unbiasedly, like
Molina, that was the guy I was thinking about.
Oh yeah,
Molina,
the last fight,
John Molina Jr. or something like that. That fight, like, when he just beat him up.
So, I wonder, and I should have researched. I wonder how many world champions Mayweather beat and didn't take the belts.
Like he fought him not for the belt.
I just kind of feel like Mayweather's strategy was more so money oriented.
Yeah, he was trying to make more money than anybody ever. Yeah, and he did.
Yeah, so like, but when fighter for fighter, man, I think Floyd one of them type of dudes where somebody could be as great, equal to, or better. So he's going to insert himself back in the picture at some point.
He's already done one kind of charity fight, right, where he fought and he won it, and it counted on his record, you know, but he wanted to get to 50-0. I just think Bud's going to get out. When Bud gets out, when he's done, completely, he's not coming back. And all fighters, I don't think, for the most part, come back.
But he's not even doing exhibition.
I don't think he's going to come back. I think he's going to fight. He was joking today on a podcast that if somebody offered him $100 million,
hell yeah,
he'd be like, I'll be back for $100 million.
I'll fight for the first time in the ring against Bud for $100 million.
I think he fights this fight, right, against Madrimov, fights him. If the fight comes up and they say, yes, you can have Canelo, whatever the catch weight is or whatever else.
You think he's done?
I think he does that, and then he's done. Because what else would he have to prove?
Nothing.
Canelo's only lost 2 fights.
But what if he do Canelo bad like he did Spence? I'm going to get them other 4. I'm getting them other 3 belts.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he wants that. I don't know if he wants that. By the way,
he's teetering.
That's a lot of weight, by the way.
I know, but check this out. I'm following you.
Yeah.
So something just came to my mind that says he's kind of like, it's like a Libra scale. It's like if I really want this deal with Canelo, but if I can't get this, because this would be the biggest money fight I can take. Yeah. It's a hurt business. You risking your life. If I can't get that, I might as well focus. My legacy is cemented, but this is the closest thing to it.
The Saudis are willing to pay a fortune for that fight.
Right.
They want to have it over in Saudi Arabia.
But why?
They want to do it. They want to pay a fortune for that fight.
But I know we're talking about Bud and Canelo.
Yeah.
But
of course, he's got to get past this fight. Of course.
Why we're not talking about David Benavidez? Like, why isn't Canelo? Why does he? Why wouldn't he fight him versus fight Bud? He got a better chance of beating David Benavidez
because he'd be fighting. I think again after you get all the money, which you're talking about with Floyd, and you get all the belts we're talking about Bud. Eventually, it's about pride. It's about pride. So if I get to fight the guy that people are saying is the #1 pound for pound fighter, I think eventually I get to that point in my career where that's what I want to do. I want to beat the guy they tell me is the best.
But in his
and that's what it is. And Benavidez
is the best.
I don't believe is he even in the top 5 of pound for pound? I don't think he's listed on the pound for pound list.
David Benavidez is the Mexican monster for real. And all I'm saying is,
and Naue is #1, and then Bud, and then Canelo.
I heard, to keep it real, Tank Davis should be ahead of Canelo.
And again, I love Tank Davis. I really do. But he only throws like 4 punches around. I know, but one's a knockout punch.
1, 2, 3, next fight.
One is
but
definitely.
I'm just saying, David Benavidez. I seen something on a boxing vlog that Canelo said he need $200 million to fight Benavidez.
$200 million.
Sound like he's scared.
For a purse.
Sound like he's scared
between the two of them.
He sounds like him by himself.
He's just gonna. Well, nobody's ever gonna give him $2 million.
That's the point.
Yeah. But nobody's ever gonna give him $200 million.
I think he's scared. I think he's scared of this guy. 100%.
You think Canelo's scared of somebody?
Hell yeah.
I just don't. Because remember, this is the guy who went up and fought somebody at 175 he should never have fought and got the loss.
That's cool, but
he's the guy who shot Mayweather at a very young age.
You don't make it to Bud if you fight Benavidez. You don't.
You know what?
If you fight Benavidez,
I think he thinks he does. I think he thinks he does. I think he thinks he's looking at Bud and going, Bud is a 130-pound guy to start off with, and I'm going to fight him at 38 pounds.
And he thinks he has a better chance to beat him than beating David Benavidez is my point.
That's certainly a possibility. It could be a possibility. I just don't think that Canelo's scared of anybody.
Well, I just don't think it's boxing. I don't think nobody's scared.
And maybe he could be. I just don't think he's afraid of anybody.
If you lose, especially if you lose. He'll lose like Spence lost to Bud if he fight Benavidez.
You think he's going to get devastated? 100%. See, I don't see. Look, I know.
People said what you saying about Spence.
I know Canelo isn't the greatest movement guy.
Yeah, but as
a technician,
he comes straight
I think he can handle Benavidez as a technician because
I want him to fight.
One thing he can do is, again, he's not the greatest movement guy and he's not tall. But he is solidly put together. And he built that weight over the course of years. It wasn't like you looked at him and you said, Bud was 130 and now Bud's going to fight at 168. So he is a solidly built guy that size. I don't know, man. I'd be surprised.
That's the fight. Now for Bud, I want him to fight Canelo. But for
it's legacy, right?
What I think should happen, go ahead and run that fade with Benavidez. And if you get past him, then you get mega money for Bud. Bud get a bigger price.
I think we're at the point right now. I think we're at the point right now where it's all about legacy.
Yes.
It's about what my legacy is going to be. I don't want to hear about anything else. I made a bunch of money. Right. I got a lot of belts. My legacy will be that when they look, Sugar Ray Robinson's a great example of this. Yep. Obviously, fought long before I was alive, fought long before you were alive, before your parents were alive. Mm-hmm. But people always can go, really? Yeah. But look at these 100 fights.
Dang.
And look at the weight classes. And look who he beat, all-time greats. That's his legacy.
Right.
I think we can say the same thing about Ali's legacy, fought the best of the best. Sure. You can say a thing about Leonard's legacy, all those guys.
Right.
When you look at the legacy of the modern guys,
right.
Bud might be the guy, if he does this thing.
He's the greatest modern-day fighter.
If he wins this and then he beats Canelo,
100%.
Then
it's
legacy-wise.
like a LeBron James thing.
Legacy-wise. And the thing about LeBron is, and it's funny because I don't think he's ever going to get the 6 titles. That 6 titles thing will always be held over his head.
Yeah.
Nope. This guy, Bud Crawford, not only won belts in different divisions, he unified them.
Right.
You know how hard it is to unify nowadays?
I know,
to get all 4 belts?
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to do.
Before you can even try to win the belt, you got to get the fight.
You got to get the fight. So Bud won at 135, 140, 147. Madrimov is at 154. Canelo walks around at 168, which would be incredible to make that. It's going to be about an 8-year difference because Crawford's birthday's in September.
Yeah.
So he's getting ready to turn 38. He's 37. This kid is 29.
Right.
Bud started fighting 10 years before this guy even started fighting.
For sure.
In terms of a professional.
We just need the belt, bro.
Yeah.
We just need that belt.
Here's the thing about it.
Yeah.
10 fights.
Yeah.
And I watched 4 of Madrimov's fights today.
Okay.
4 of his fights. The first fight I watched, he just wore the guy down, a guy named Martin. He wore him down. He eventually caught him, stopped the fight.
Right.
Next time he fought the same guy back-to-back. His name is Michel Soro, French dude.
Yeah.
First time he fought him, early on, good fight. 8th round comes around, rock, 9, they stop it. And then the next time they fought a rematch because Soro claimed it was an early stoppage. So they fought again, their heads clashed, big cut, they stopped it. So that's why he has that draw.
So they stopped it after
2 rounds.
Before 3.
It was just
before
2.
4?
Yeah, it was second round,
so
head crash.
What would you say
that's why he's 10-0-1.
What's his style as a fighter? I'm not going to lie. I haven't watched nothing on him just because I know what's about to happen.
He's a physical kid.
Right.
He looks bigger than he weighs.
Oh,
he's one of those guys that's got really big arms.
Yeah.
So he looks a little bit bigger.
He's not as tall as...
Same height. They're both 5'8".
Exactly.
They're same height. They're built different because Bud's arms are so long. He's got a 2-inch reach advantage, and I bet it's even longer if you go from the armpit to the finger, which is the way they do it on used to on HBO.
Right.
Bud's got that long torso. This kid, he's built more squatty, but they're the same height.
For sure.
It kind of like if you had a wide receiver and a running back. Say they're both 5'9", but they're built differently. That's how they are. But he's got good power. I don't believe he's got the kind of power where he can have a one-punch knockout on Bud. I think it would take a lot of wearing him down to have that happen.
Right.
I think what's going to happen to him is he takes way too many shots early.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter. All 4 fights I watched, he took early shots. Most of them in the first round, a lot of them in the second round. If Bud gets ahead of you, Bud's a front runner.
Yeah.
You saw that with Spence, right?
Yes, sir.
As soon as you knew.
Yeah.
After the second round, you were like, "Oh, this is gonna. When's it gonna be over?" That's all I didn't know.
Yeah, I give him 6 to 8. But I give him 6 to 8.
So I was looking at the betting lines, and you can bet Bud knockout or stoppage from 7 to 9.
Okay.
And that's the one I kind of look at 7 to 9.
I respect that.
Spence, I had 8 to 10. Close. But yeah, so that's who they're fighting. Again, if you want to come to Let It Fly for the event, I was here last time for Spence.
It
was incredible.
I got a question for
People
you.
were
Speaking
losing
about,
it. Yeah.
Bud Camp.
Yep.
Did you watch Shakur Stevenson fight?
I did. Not highlights, not the live. I watched highlights.
Right. So so the narrative with him is
he's boring.
Yeah, and according to Mason, Cam calling them pillow hands and all that type of stuff. What do you think about like from a fan perspective? Is that I'm like, I don't think he's that. I think he's a masterclass artist. Like he's the type
he's a boxer.
He's a boxer. He's the type of guy that he can take the shot he need to take, but you got to be in the right place at the right time for him to throw the proper jab. Mm-hmm. But like It ain't the most fun to watch.
No, it's not.
I mean,
but my favorite fighter of all time
boring to me.
Wasn't fun.
Yeah, true.
My favorite fighter of all time is Pernell Whitaker, the Sweet Pea.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, Sweet Pea were not fun to watch.
Yeah. Like
that's fine, but he won.
Yeah, but I'm
Dominated.
just saying though, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and he got to get the win at the end of the day.
Exactly.
But I just kind of feel like I think he can let his hands go a little bit more, man. Like that's
maybe he eventually will get to the point where he is not as fast as he was, he's not as elusive as he was, and he'll say to himself, you know what, I got to stop guys now.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll reach that point in his career. Because, even Sweet Pea at the end.
Does he got knockout power, though? I haven't seen it.
Although we did see him
Hell
here.
Of a fighter, though. You think he'd beat Tank?
That's a good question.
That's something else I want to see.
So if he fights the tentative fight that he fights all the time, no. I don't think Tank ever gets that shot. Gets that shot. He's got to get. Tank only throws. I'm joking when I say this. He throws like 6 punches around.
I feel you.
And one of those punches is what knocks you out.
Yeah.
I don't think that Shakur would ever let him get that punch in.
I just kind of feel like.
I don't think.
Personally, I think that Tank's IQ is underrated by people. I think he's a sharper boxer.
He's a good fighter.
And a slicker boxer than what it seems. He's honestly one of my top 2 favorite boxers.
Why wouldn't you like to watch him fight?
Him and Bud are my favorite fighters to watch.
Why wouldn't you want to watch a guy fight who eventually there's going to be an explosion?
Every fight.
There's going to be an explosion. Right. He's going to hit somebody with a left hand. And, by the way, this Madrimov guy, he throws a ton of uppercuts. Ton. His favorite combination is jab, left hook, uppercut. He loves throwing that. Bud doesn't get hit with that kind of stuff. Right. But if there's a punch that can devastate any man alive,
it'll be that.
It's the uppercut. So you got to watch out for that.
I think Shakur should go ahead and go after like a Devin Haney. But styles make fights.
Yeah. Now Haney fought.
He lost
Tank, right? Got knocked out by Neck.
No.
He got beat by the dude with the drugs. Garcia, right?
Yeah, Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, he got beat with the drugs,
or fight Ryan Garcia next year.
Yeah, if Ryan could ever get back to fighting again.
In a year. Hopefully in a year he'll be back.
Well, he got to test positive eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
In order to be able to do it.
Yeah.
On a Sunday.
Gotta go. I forgot the sausage. You guys ready to eat? There you go.
Big Ten Media Day is going on. Today, we're taping this on Thursday.
I seen something.
Is the last day.
I was leaving the house. I seen Matt Rhule talking to somebody.
Yeah, yesterday was Nebraska's day.
Word.
Matt Rhule was there. Ty Robinson was there.
What were they last year? 5
Isaac
and 7?
Gifford and Ty Robinson and Ben Scott, the starting center, were there.
Yeah.
5 and 7 last year. They are picked.
What were they before last year?
4 and 8.
See, that's Matt Rhule effect.
He wasn't. Yeah, right.
He turned programs around.
Yeah. So this is good because, as he said when he got to Nebraska, that it wasn't as bad a shape as it was at other places.
Dang.
And that was proven because, remember, at Temple he won 1.
Right.
Or 2, and at Baylor he won 1.
Right.
So obviously it wasn't as bad. They went 5 and 7, and legitimately they had 5 games they lost by 3 or fewer points or overtime.
For sure.
So, but in the end, 27 media members vote for the rankings of the Big Ten for preseason.
Ooh, let me see something. Yeah.
So Buckeyes, not surprised, 21 first place votes.
Yeah.
Oregon got 6 first place votes, and that's it. Nobody else got first place votes. Nebraska came in 8th. So it goes Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Michigan.
Who's behind? Yeah.
I'm going to go, that's the top 4.
Okay.
Then it goes Iowa, USC, Wisconsin, Nebraska at your top 8. Then behind Nebraska, Rutgers is at 9, which is really Nebraska's toughest early game.
Right.
If you count Colorado. Washington, Maryland, and Minnesota is 12. Then you got Illinois, Northwestern, UCLA, Michigan State, and your bottom 2 are Indiana and Purdue.
So everybody ain't going to play everybody, so how they pooling it?
Well, I mean, you play the schedule you have. They do.
How do you determine that, though?
Who the best team is?
No, like.
How they do this? This is voting.
So
you vote. You literally, when you give your vote in, all 28 of these guys, here's my top 18. And then they add up the top 18 and determine, here's the poll.
But I'm saying,
that's how the polls all work.
Is it like the East and the West?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
It's all 18. No more North, South, East, West, legends, leaders, all gone.
Gotcha.
All that's gone. In terms of predicting which one of these teams might make the college football playoff?
Yeah, because it's 2014.
16? 12.
12
teams.
Okay.
Ohio State, unanimous pick. Everybody picking them to make it.
Yeah.
Oregon, everybody but 1.
Gotcha.
And then Penn State had 18 people say it. Michigan had 15. And 3 people said Iowa.
So Wisconsin.
If you watch Iowa's schedule.
People think Wisconsin is not as good as Iowa. Why?
Well, one is the schedule. Iowa's schedule is much more conducive to going 10-2 than Wisconsin's is. Wisconsin's got a tougher schedule. Also, Iowa probably has either the first or second best defense coming back. Gotcha. Everybody's coming back with a great defensive coordinator in Phil Parker. They're going to be really good defensively. They believe that they have their offensive coordinator job fixed, getting rid of Baby Ferentz. And so with all those things together and with that schedule, they should go 10-2.
For sure.
If they go 10-2, they're probably going to be a team that's going to be right on the edge of the college football playoff.
Okay. I
don't know if it's going to happen or not.
How many games are we as the Huskers going to win this year, in your opinion?
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to tell you some of the things
I don't know right now
that Matt Rhule had to say at this event.
I got to watch more.
First thing he talked about was the expectations. Mm-hmm. Quote, I want to say it like this, if that's okay. I expect us to be good. I expect us to win. I expect us to be relevant in the conference. That's what he said.
The respect.
Talked about reducing the turnovers.
But what's relevant?
Well, if relevant means that when a conversation is being had at the end of the year, you're in the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Crazy enough.
I thought he meant just like.
Crazy enough, they were in the conversation for the West with 3 weeks left last year because everybody was so bad.
I feel you.
He talked about reducing turnovers. Last year they were -7. They were -17.
That's number one.
This year he said, if we can get to +7, which is a huge turnaround. That's 24-thing turnaround.
Right.
Make a bowl game. Duh.
Right.
Improve the wide receiver room, which has been improved. They're deep.
Nice.
They're deep.
I mean, yeah,
they're deep.
Yeah.
They're deep. And by the way, a note to this.
But why improve by what? Like get better from last year, or because the talent that's coming on and what they already got was just young.
Well, yeah, all the injuries last year, right? So they lost right away. They lost Isaiah Garcia Castaneda.
Right.
They lost Billy Kemp at a point.
Right.
They had so many injuries.
So what's up with
Washington?
them?
But now they're young, and he feels this is an improved wide receiver room. They'll be able to do more stuff in the passing game. They were 126th out of 130 or so teams in passing last year.
Wow.
They were brutal. They were brutal. So we want to get better. He also talked about the hiring of John Butler. Mm-hmm. That's the new secondary coach. Used to be with the Buffalo Bills, been in the NFL.
I seen that.
Evan Cooper left because of personal reasons, so he takes over.
Personal reasons is going to just get out like a Scott Frost deal, or just not agreeing on a coaching staff, and you know what? I'm just going to move over.
So I listen to a lot of crime novels.
For sure.
And the detectives always say there's one of 4 things that somebody commits murder for.
Okay.
It's kind of the same thing for personal reasons. Women, money.
Respect.
A couple other things. So those are the things that get you murdered. Also will get you to have to
it was in his best interest.
Something happened. Right.
Yeah.
So
I don't care like that.
No, I don't either.
Yeah,
and
I don't care like that.
I wish him the best.
I was just saying.
He's a good coach.
For sure.
The other thing that came out of is, Ainsworth's Carter Nelson, the big tight end, great athlete, 8-man. They're going to start him at wide receiver. So they believe they can put him in the slot, take advantage of his skills, get him on the field. Bly Hill, who was hurt in the spring game, it looks like now they think he might be back for the second week of camp.
Right.
So he might be ready for the beginning of the season.
Gotcha.
He's the guy that was going to start opposite Tommy Hill before he got hurt during the spring. So that was good news.
Where's Jalen Lloyd in his depth chart to you?
On wide receiver?
Yes.
What?
Right.
So I think your starting wide receivers currently, Isaiah Nair, the portal guy, probably will start.
Got to.
I think so. I just said the other portal guy, he'll start. Mm-hmm. And then that'll leave you with probably Jalen Lloyd and maybe Isaiah Garcia Castaneda because he's such a veteran.
Yeah.
It's like his 6th year or whatever. Right. Maybe he's the guy. But I definitely think the portal guys, I think they're going to play 6-7 deep.
Okay.
6-7 deep. Don't forget, got Malachi Coleman too.
Right.
I love Ja'Cory Barney, the freshman, the true freshman. I think he could do a lot of great things.
Right.
Bullock, who came back from last year, was the leading receiver last year, returning.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys that are out there, but I think you'll see a lot of rotation with that. And, they changed the rules in terms of coaching. Some of the guys who are analysts can now coach on the field.
Really?
Right. They changed that.
When they changed that?
This coming into this year.
Why?
So because it was always really difficult to tell a guy, hey, you're an offensive analyst, you can talk to the team, but you can't go on the field and give any instruction. Watching that, it was easier to say, let's just legalize it than to enforce it.
Yeah.
So Ron Brown
made competition better.
So Ron Brown now, it helps the coaching staff.
Right.
So if you got 10 coaches, which they have, right, the offensive line is actually 3 positions.
Right.
The tackles, the guards, and the center.
Yep.
So if you had 2 other coaches being able to help you, running backs, 2 positions, running back and fullback. So Ron Brown, former Husker coach who's been an analyst, is now going to be the fullbacks coach and also coach the returners.
Okay.
So he's back doing that. That was nothing that came out of the Big Ten Media Days.
Yep.
a couple of topics, not Husker related, but Big Ten related. So each team, basically in the Power 5 or Power 4 now, it's going to be about $22 million to be able to distribute to all the athletes, not just football players, all of them. The question is, how much of that
per school or
per school? Each school is going to get $22 million. Each school in the Big Ten will have $22 million up to if they want to spend it all.
Right.
The question is, how much do you spend that on football? Because it's for everybody. The SEC is saying $15 million of the 22
is going to football. I know. You know why I know? My buddy Garth Glissman, he works down there in SEC.
Vanderbilt. Is he still at Vanderbilt?
No, he's just in the office over the whole SEC now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He did get promoted. He might be the next commissioner.
I think so.
He could be the next commissioner.
He was in the NBA.
That'd be good for him.
Now in the SEC.
Yep.
Doing his thing. Shout out Garth.
So, so also the other thing is the roster limits. They're talking about now making the roster limits about 105. It's been 120 the last couple of years because
they're trying to make this sports and entertainment.
Well, so what they're doing is they're saying unlimited scholarships.
Right.
But you can only have 105.
Yeah.
So instead of having 85 scholarships, you'll now be able to have 105 scholarships, but you can't go over that.
That means your practice players are going to be nice.
So here's the question about that.
Your game players going to be
Here's the question about that is, so Nebraska currently has got about 145 guys on their roster.
Okay.
What happens? Huh?
How many travel?
In conference, it's 70. Out of conference, I think it is 65 and 70.
Okay.
In conference, 65. Out of conference, 70.
Right.
But you have to have these guys practicing. Guys are going to get hurt. You got to be able to have a good bench, right? So the question is, will they allow schools like a Nebraska to have like a taxi squad where you got these 20 guys who work out before the season starts, and then when fall starts, they're not on the 105. But if something happens, you could bring one of them up.
Yeah, it's like a
so that's going to be so right now they're working on all this. Like I said, Nebraska's got over 140 now.
Man, I think if that strategy worked, man, I'm trying to tell you, it'll make all of college football better and each team better by a little bit.
Yeah, it hurts. What it's going to help is everybody down the road. So if all of a sudden Nebraska can't have 140.
Right.
So now they only have 105. So some of those student athletes are going to leave and go play in the non-Power 5.
Right.
Some of those guys might leave and go play in 1AA. Right. Some of those guys may leave and go play in Division 2. So every level is going to get better players.
For sure.
If you do that. But it's all about saving money, you know.
Right.
They don't want a team like, if you can afford it at Nebraska to pay 140, they're saying, no, we want it to be level playing field. So everybody's going to have 105.
$15 million on football?
On football. Yeah. Man. That means the rest of it's got to go towards volleyball, basketball,
what about
baseball.
So what was the deal about Phil Knight talking about unlimited NIL to Oregon?
Well, it's two different monies, right? The $22 million comes from the money they receive from TV, the money they receive from packages,
contracts. I feel you.
Which separate is the NIL money and what you can afford to pay with that. And so that's separate money. Like, so you have $18.90, which is Nebraska's NIL.
Right.
They're also going to get this chunk of money to be able to use in $22 million from the conference or from college football. So that's part of the settlement. When they had that settlement was $22 million.
I got you.
So that's what happened at Big Ten Media Days. Last thing, NBA off seasons so far. I'm going to give you the scenarios. You give me your thoughts on, are they going to be better? Will they be the same? Will they be worse?
All right.
We're going to start off with, of course, my Philadelphia 76ers. Add Paul George. 4 years, $212 million. Add Caleb Martin and Andre Drummond. Add Eric Gordon. They also kept Kelly Oubre, which we thought they were going to lose, and lost Tyree and kept Tyree Maxey.
Man, this looked like a finals team.
Well, first of all, they got to be able to make the finals in the East.
True.
So can they make the finals in the East?
They can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You think so?
Yes, that's my point.
So you have the Celtics. Oh, so okay. Let me give you the next team then.
Yeah.
Knicks now adding Mikal Bridges.
From Villanova.
Do you think the Knicks?
The East is hard now.
So you think the Sixers are better or the Knicks are better?
I think that
with these combinations. And remember, Embiid's got to stay healthy.
Well, I think the Knicks are better. The chemistry is already there.
Exactly.
They were 2 players away just about. Now
they couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Now with Bridges, they really locked in like that. But I'm just saying that I think with Paul George, with his talent level, the way Joel Embiid plays, Tyree Maxey is a hooper. He really is an NBA All-Star to me. I just feel like the Sixers can make a real run.
So only 2 can make the Eastern Conference Finals, obviously.
Right.
Knicks, Sixers, Celtics.
Celtics, and I think the Sixers need about 1 or 2 more years. So I'm going to say Knicks.
So Knicks this year.
Yeah.
So other team, Oklahoma City. Isaiah Hartenstein, they added him.
Yep.
That's a nice contract for him. They got rid of Josh Giddey, who was a problem, and brought in Alex Caruso. Yeah. So they got one of the best defensive guards in the league.
Yeah.
And a good distributor. Good, better. What do you think about Oklahoma City doing the moves they made?
I think they were kind of in the Knicks situation. I just feel like they just replaced a piece for a chemistry issue. And I feel like Caruso with his experience, especially playing with Bron in the past, and he really like a two-way player to me. So
he is.
Yeah, I think they right back in the conference finals. Too.
Yeah. The funny thing about them, and I said this to you last year.
Yeah.
They didn't really they had height, not a lot of size down low.
Right.
Hartenstein kind of helps them out for that.
For sure.
Let's go with the Mavs. Klay Thompson replaces Tim Hardaway Jr. Quentin Grimes replaces Josh Green, and Najee Marshall replaces Derrick Jones Jr. With that group together, what the Dallas Mavericks already have,
right?
What do you think?
I think Klay Thompson got something to prove to Golden State. I think that.
I hope he has something left. I don't.
Well, you know what's crazy?
Not sure if he does.
This is how good Klay Thompson is to me. He was averaging like 19 points, and they said he was kind of washed up.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because he'd have a good game. He couldn't play two good games in a week.
He couldn't put them together.
Legs weren't there for 2 in a week. But he can, if you're the third scorer on this team.
Exactly.
He's the third or fourth
That's
scorer,
my
right?
Point.
Third or fourth scorer.
Yes.
Yep.
So I just kind of feel like who else is in the West that's pretty good?
So we just mentioned Oklahoma City.
Yep.
Right? Here's a question. What do you think about the Pelicans? They bring in DeJounte Murray from Atlanta, right?
I think they made playoffs runs, but they stopped there just because I feel like Zion is always on him. It don't matter who they bring in; it's always on him.
Denver didn't make a lot of moves.
I watched something that said Zion is so unstoppable. Like people who played in practice against him.
When he's healthy?
Like
yeah.
Unstoppable.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
But I just kind of feel like his body type.
Worst place for him to live, bro.
Yeah.
Too good of food. Too good of food. Too
good.
Nice of women.
And I ain't body shaming him or nothing like that.
No, it's true. It's not his fault.
Like I'm just like pause, but I'm just saying I feel like I feel like they get better. Mm-hmm. I feel like they start the process where they got to start making decisions.
Mm-hmm. The other team is Denver.
Denver is taking a back seat, man. I can't really say that. I just feel like
they haven't really added anything.
No, yeah, right. You can't sleep on how good Jokic is and Murray.
Right.
But then again, Jamal Murray, he may be hurt, he may not. You never know. That's why they got Trey Alexander. And then
you got Porter obviously coming up. Yep.
I just feel like the Denver Nuggets at the guard position need a little help. I think OKC make it right back to the finals.
Here's another interesting one. And I know this team hasn't been necessarily on the radar, but the Hornets, when got Josh Green, they got Reggie Jackson, got some picks from the Nuggets as well. They did some stuff. Right. They were not going to be at the bottom of the East anymore.
Right. So I think that I feel like when I think of them, I think they really building. They got young franchise players. Mm-hmm. And eventually you're going to have to, might have to get rid of your franchise guy if you don't. It depends on how long are you going to be in the same predicament? It's like no matter who you get, you have nice game. It's entertaining to watch, but are you really going to do anything?
Well, I don't know. I like what they've done in the draft because they've been struggling draft-wise back when somebody was running the team.
Right.
Now they're drafting better. It seems like they're making better decisions in the front office. It's a great era for basketball.
Right.
That area of the country they love their basketball there, so you should get good fan base.
Right.
There's a lot of parts to it. What it does tell you by all this right here is that it's going to be incredibly competitive next year.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned 3 teams at the top of the East.
Well, what about
Knicks, Celtics, and
we
Sixers.
even talked about the Pacers.
And I'm saying we only mentioned 3 in the East.
Yeah, right.
There's probably 2 or 3 more you could mention in the East.
Right.
Right. And then you go over to the West. And the West is probably a good 8 deep. And we didn't mention the Lakers.
No.
What the Lakers might be.
It's crazy how nobody wanted to play with LeBron. But I don't even think it's just about him. I think it's about you got a new coach in JJ.
Yep.
LeBron on his last leg.
Right.
And LeBron kind of is dictating how it's going to roll. So
exactly. Exactly.
Sure.
So you look at it overall.
Yeah.
It's going to be a more competitive East than it was last year, obviously. I think the Celtics won the conference by like 12 games, 20 games like that. So it'll be more competitive than that. But it's going to be a good year. There's so much talent.
Man, those playing games, I can't wait. Those NBA playing games in the beginning of the season are intense.
Oh, the midseason tournament.
Yeah.
The midseason tournament last year I think it surprised some people.
Yeah, man, it was better than I thought.
A lot of people, I think they thought, this is stupid.
Bro.
Who cares?
Every game.
And every
game was like damn near Elam ending TBT.
Well, they had to do that thing where the tiebreaker was margin of victory.
Right.
So you had people trying to score like 140
exactly.
to get their extra. Yeah. So that was a big part of it. Yeah. Or show anything that I didn't get to in terms of the big news out there. Obviously, the Olympics is starting across Paris.
No, I watched. It was cool to see. You remember Andre Roberson that played with Durant?
Yeah.
He was playing in the TBT.
Oh, really?
You know?
Yeah.
They beat Wichita State and Kansas.
Oh, they beat Kansas, huh?
Yeah.
Nick Baugh was saying this Kansas team was the best collection of talent in the TBT. That's what he said.
And that's what I think. It's one of those same things. You can be a better team, but you run against somebody with just a better player, man. Nick Baugh said don't matter.
Yeah, he said because when they were going in, he said, "Man, this team's gonna be hard to beat."
That's because because you think about college days, but a lot of people get better after college.
Sure, oh definitely.
You know, Frank Mason is like that though. But like, man, Roberson, you can just tell
Frank Mason's knees are good. Because I remember that was the big rip on him in the draft. He had knee surgeries.
That was Roberson's problem why he got hurt. He had a catastrophic.
Really?
Yeah, and so he was out of the NBA. It's only been 2 years, but you can tell he ain't really jumping the same.
Yeah,
but you can tell his experience was a little different than everybody.
No, I understand.
It was just tight to see him.
We got to get our man Val out of here.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is clock. We appreciate you joining us. We want to thank everybody that's a part of the show. Now, executive producer Phil McClain did nothing this week. Didn't get us a guest. Didn't do anything. So we're going to thank him anyway.
For sure.
We didn't have anybody to come in and take pictures because we didn't have a guest.
No.
Right? So no Meg.
You got us, though.
Mac was here earlier, making sure the equipment was working.
No doubt.
And, of course, Val, King Elvis is here.
When he here, he hold it down.
We appreciate him for holding it down.
Right.
I want to thank our presenting sponsor again, Bud Light. When you're hanging out at the Let It Fly Sports Bar, you're watching some boxing, you're watching basketball, whatever, watching the Olympics, easy drinking, easy buckets throughout Nebraska, easy to drink, and easy to enjoy. I want to remind you also, go on to YouTube, find our YouTube channel, and subscribe to it.
Yeah.
Like it. Unsubscribe, like again.
Let It Fly Show.
Exactly. Let It Fly Show. Subscribe to it. We'd appreciate that. Wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe and like there as well. Helps out us, of course. We appreciate it. Next week, we'll be previewing even more Crawford and Madrimov.
Fight.
Oh, yeah. It'll be a couple days away.
Yeah, right.
And so we'll do that. And again, a reminder, if you have not gotten your tickets yet to come to Let It Fly Sports Bar, go to the website, Let It Fly Omaha, and look it up and get yourself a ticket. Because you're going to want to be here. It's so exciting. It's so crazy. Everybody's going nuts. It feels like you're actually at the fight.
Right.
You know, that's how it is.
It's live in here.
It's live in here, no doubt about it. So do that as well. Josh, take us away.
Hey, Josh Jones here with Michael Zavere. You know how we do it. It's a Let It Fly show.